So the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to the playoffs after all, despite one of the most nerve-wracking games, unnecessarily nerve-wracking games in my entire life. The Chargers and Raiders were tied at 28 apiece? What was the score? Let me pull up the exact score. Going into overtime. 29 apiece, excuse me. And they go into overtime, and the Raiders kick a field goal, and the Chargers kick a field goal, and time's running out. It's just a 10-minute overtime period, and you can tie. And if they tied, the one scenario going into tonight where Pittsburgh does not make the playoffs is if the Raiders and Chargers tied. They both make the playoffs, and Pittsburgh doesn't. So we just needed someone to win this game. Well, the Raiders jumped out to a pretty early lead. The Chargers rebounded, and the Raiders took a lead again. And I was expecting the Raiders to come on and just win this game. And the Chargers came back, and they kept coming back. And there was every opportunity for the Raiders just to close this game out in the fourth quarter. And it was penalties, it was fourth down conversions, it was long third down conversions. Consistently on 4th and 10, 3rd and 10, the Chargers got first down somehow. They forced overtime. And then both teams kicked field goals in overtime. And thank God the Raiders played to win the game. Because frankly, there's a scenario where the Raiders just say, screw it. We're around the 40-yard line or so. We don't need to actually win this game to advance. We just need to tie. And they have a play. I'm going to try and pull up the exact play. So I have the exact number down. A run by Josh Jacobs for 10 yards with 38 seconds left in overtime. So 3rd and 4. Josh Jacobs runs for 10 yards. I am convinced if he does not get 10 yards on that play, the Raiders do not, well, they probably still try to kick the field goal if he gets like 5 or 6 yards. But if he does not get the first down that play, I am convinced the Raiders just don't even remotely come close to kicking the field goal or making it or getting Pittsburgh into the playoffs. Without that play, Pittsburgh is likely sitting at home for the playoffs, not getting to participate at all. So thank you, Josh Jacobs, for that. The Raiders, they could have actually let time run out and let time expire right there and then, but they said they make the move. Rich Bisaccia, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. Interim Raiders head coach, I am hoping you get the job, sir. I am hoping you get the full-time job going into next year for what you've done today. Incredible service to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you so much. Yeah, so man, kicking the field goal, they call timeout, kick the field goal instead of letting time expire. And Brandon Staley and the Chargers get sent home. Now, to be fair, this is partially Brandon Staley's own fault because there was an opportunity at the end of regulation when the Chargers tied the game. Let me see how long was left actually in the game at the time. The Chargers tie the game, and there's no time left on the clock. You get the opportunity to tie the game, I should say, with no time left on the clock, because you get the touchdown. Now it's the decision to kick the field goal, or kick the extra point, or take the 2-point conversion. And then Brandon Staley, a man who went for it on 4th down at his own 20-yard line earlier this game, and turned the ball over on downs at his own 20-yard line, decides to kick the extra point and tie the game and go to overtime. This is a guy who consistently goes for it on 4th down in his own territory this year. When the numbers say it's the right thing to do and go for it on 4th down, he does. When it says it's the wrong thing to do and go for it on 4th down, he still goes for it on 4th down. It's just for a coach that has made so many controversial decisions and been so risky, to not play to win the game there is very interesting. Because we've seen John Harbaugh do it a couple of times, and sometimes he had really good play calls, and sometimes he didn't. But we've seen John Harbaugh make that we're going to play to win regulation call. And I would assume Brandon Staley would make that call usually if this was any other week or any other scenario. But this time around, he kicks the extra point, and that kind of dooms the Chargers. It really does, because think about it. If they get the 2-point conversion, they win. It's the ultimate outcome. Instead, they go to overtime and lose. So really, and granted, there's no way of them knowing this in the moment that this is going to happen. But if you just go for 2, even if you don't get it, you lose, which is the outcome that happened anyways. And if you get it, you win, which is not what would have happened. There was really no situation where the Chargers win this game at the end of overtime, because it's either going to be a tie or it's going to be a loss. So that's probably going to be the moment people are going to point to and say, and it's kind of funny because there'll be the same people criticizing Staley for not going for it for 2 there, who were criticizing him for going for it on 4th down, going for 2 points too often in other scenarios. But and just be consistent. Like, I'm surprised Staley was not really consistent because he goes for it on 4th down from his 20-yard line early in the game. But then in this scenario, decides not to go for the 2-point conversion, which just does not seem very consistent to me with his personality. Because if you get that 2-point conversion, it's a 100% win. You know, it's literally almost like a 50-50 split. You either don't get it and you lose the game. That's wrong. It's not a 50-50 split. Ignore that. But you either get the conversion and you win the game. It's a 100% outcome. You win the game and you get the 2-point conversion. And you absolutely 100% lose if you don't get it. And instead you decide to go to overtime where all these extra factors come in, all these outside factors come into the equation. And it messes with everything. You know, you get the coin flip, who gets the ball first, the field goals, the field positioning. Every single play is a possibility for a turnover or for a big play. And you take the risk of going into that instead of just going for a definitive outcome. Doesn't really seem like it's characteristically a fit with what Staley's done throughout the year. So that would probably be the most criticized or scrutinized part of this game, outside of going for it on your own 20-yard line. I mean, this was a fun game. It didn't feel like it at times. It felt like there were moments where the Chargers had all the momentum, and they were going to make this comeback and kind of blow away the Raiders at some point. It felt like at times the Raiders were pulling away from this game, and the Chargers were trying to catch up. You know, so it never didn't really feel like a great football game until the final 15 minutes or so of regulation. The final quarter, it became a great game. And, of course, overtime carried into that as well. But, man, there's really not a lot to say about this. I mean, Hunter Renfrow didn't have a great game. 4 receptions for 13 yards. 2 touchdowns, by the way, which helps out quite a bit. There's just not much to say because if you watched it, you know. If you watch it, you understand what I'm feeling. The confusion, the agony, and everything. The joy, the confusion. You understand it. Derek Carr didn't have a great game. Only 186 passing yards. You know? Justin Herbert had an interception, but he produced some big plays, and he converted those 3rd and long, 4th and long situations for the Chargers late in the game. Yeah. He was under pressure constantly, by the way. Max Crosby was all over him most of the game. Yannick Ngakoue had some good plays. Quentin Jefferson was actually pretty active in this one, too. On the other side, still some pressure. Not as much pressure. Joey Bosa had a sack. I think the Raiders' defense was more impactful in this game, even though they basically end up giving the same number of points as the Chargers. Man, I'm tired. I am tired. I start a new job tomorrow, potentially. It's 12:30 at night. I'm going to get to bed. There's really not much more I can add at this point. I'm going to go to bed. And I will see you all tomorrow, I guess. Or later today.